Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Boisterous,
And this is Cadoink.
and we're bringing you some Gold League goodiness out of the map Metalopolis. Spawning over here in the right-hand position as the red Protoss, we have SwansGoMoo, and spawning up here in the north position, we have Fail, the blue Zerg. So, Cadoink, do you have any opinions on this map? Are you surprised to see that it's probably going to be staying? The last time I checked the vote, of course, just Shadow Temple was far and away ahead. So, does that surprise you at all?
Yeah, it does surprise me. Metalopolis has been a map that's been in the ladder pool since the beta, I do believe. I remember playing it a long time ago, and so it's interesting to see that they're keeping this old map. But at the same time, it is a good thing. It's very nostalgic of the beta. So I'm happy. I did vote for it to go out, but I'm not terribly sad to see it stay.
Yeah, no, it's one of those maps that I think people are just so used to seeing. Like, they would be sad if they didn't have it. And of course, with I think the next one is Metropolis, which
Yeah.
I didn't look at that map in depth, but it looked very similar to this map.
Yeah, it was very similar, and I think that's good because there's only really one map with this sort of tile set, this kind of dark city metropolis sort of deal. So it is nice to have another one on the way, and that's another reason I was surprised that it hadn't been replaced, because we've seen a lot of maps like Shattered Temple, we've seen a lot of maps with sand in it, and so I think it's cool that there will be a new map with this tile set.
Yeah, and this tile set also has the best doodads in the game.
Oh yeah, very cool doodads, and a lot of that is coming out of the Wings of Liberty campaign, and the fact that these doodads were kind of built for the campaign. So it will be interesting to see how Heart of the Swarm's doodads show up and whether or not they're interesting. I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, and I still remember seeing all the city doodads like Bob's guns and stuff from StarCraft 1.
Yeah,
and those always just bring back a great feeling. And we have SwansGoMoo going for a fast Forge FE, it looks like, whereas his opponent Fail is just going for 15 hatch. Kind of interesting plays from both players. Definitely very macro heavy, especially on this map where your natural is so wide and it's so easy to just go for, a 6 pool and win the game almost instantaneously.
Yeah, I think this is very cool seeing this out of these players. You did say they were Gold League, I do believe.
Yep.
And I think that's good, because I know when I was in the lower leagues, I did a lot of one-base play, and it wasn't until I started getting up in those higher leagues where I said, okay, I'm going to take a chance and go for those early expansions. So I like to see that these players are experimenting with these early expand builds, because I think that's kind of the direction StarCraft 2 is going in, kind of heavier macro play, earlier expansions, and how can I take an expansion and defend it really early.
Yeah.
And so that's very cool that we see this out of both these players.
Yeah, and it looks like Fail's going for, one of the favorites of the lower league Zergs, which is the kind of Spanishiwa Ice Fisher build where you just don't get any gas, ever. You just delay it for as long as possible. And he's even going so far as to take a third at the gold after seeing that natural going up from his Protoss opponent. And the third at the gold on a map like this, especially where you have a worker controlling the Zelnaga Tower, is hard to deal with. Like, very, very difficult to deal with. Because you just never see it, really. Unless you're scouting across map or something and they decide to take that as their fast 15 hatch. So Fail definitely taking a really nice initiative with taking that third base. And he should be able to defend it quite okay at this point, because we have a semi-late cybernetics core coming out from SwansGoMoo. I mean, not the latest one I've ever seen, but definitely nowhere near the earliest.
Yeah, I think it's a calculated risk by Fail. He did see the front of SwansGoMoo's base, and so he knows that there aren't any units on the way. There won't be any stalkers. There won't be a lot of zealots, as he only has 2 gateways, I believe, at this time. No, 1 gateway. So yeah, I think it's a very nice risk by Fail. It's going to give him a huge economic advantage, and he's even going to be transferring drones. We see them going at this time to the gold base. So this is very cool.
Yeah, that's actually quite a few drones. That's 8 drones to be transferring. And interestingly, we have SwansGoMoo going for the anti-wall in, where he kind of tried to wall in at 3 different occasions with that gateway first, and then the photon cannon, and then the pylon, and none of them are actually walling in his base.
Yeah, there's a little spot where probes and Zerglings can fit through. So that might bite him in the butt later on in the game. He is right now sending away that Overlord with his sentry, which I think is good. That Overlord has been giving Fail a lot of really good information throughout this game. So I'm glad to see it finally be pushed away by Swans.
Yeah, and it looks like the Overlord is even going to die, which is, it's always good damage to snipe off that scouting Overlord. It's pretty easy to do because most Zerg players don't keep, an eye on the clock and kind of pull that out when they need to.
Right.
Because usually you want to start pulling that out as soon as the Cyber Core finishes, especially if the gateway's working, then you just pull it right away, because otherwise you're going to lose it. And we have our Zerg player going for a Roach Warren, so we finally got that gas down. And I think he actually did go for the Ice Fisher, where he got the gas at like 40, just a very late supply count. And we have the Observer coming in and seeing the entirety of Fail's base, so looks like SwansGoMoo is finally going to see what's up in this game.
Yes, however, he will not see that third base by Fail. Actually, he is sending him down at this time, but he might just stop him at the front to, see where Fail rallies his unit. So yeah, he did stop him. He will not see this third base, and he doesn't know that he's actually economically far behind.
Yeah, he's not actually that far behind in the worker count, which is surprising. He's only 5 workers behind. However, with that 5 workers gap, he's 100 gas behind in the income and like 400 minerals just because of the gold base.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, this is very interesting that their drone count or worker count is the same. But I do believe that part of this has to do with the fact that Fail is building a lot of units at this time. He's finally getting his Roaches up, he's getting his Zerglings up, and working on that Zergling speed. While, if we look back at SwansGoMoo's base, he doesn't have that much in the way of units. He has 3 Zealots and a Sentry, a Stalker, and an Immortal. So he's not macroing as hard as he could be on the unit side, finally getting 2 more gateways up in addition to the 3 he already has.
Yeah, he's going to be actually going up to 6 gateways right now because he has 3 in the main base, 1 at the front, and 2 more coming up. He is getting that second Immortal out right now, and he sent some units out to the middle of the field and kind of staved off the Zerg rush with some force fields. And I wonder, did he spot the third? He still has not spotted the third. He has no idea about this gold base. He might be getting the hint at it just from the size of Fail's army and just being like, that's pretty big. I don't think he could build that big of an army off of 2 bases, and Fail being pretty BM there. I mean, SwansGoMoo did finally just see the base, but Fail just, that's mean. That's almost almost as bad as offensive GGing. Not quite, but it's close.
Yeah, this is like Idra territory right here, especially considering he's a Zerg player.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's really funny, really interesting. Maybe he's a big Idra fan. However, Idra isn't as cheeky as taking a 3rd gold. In fact, I think it would anger Idra quite a bit. But yeah, he did spot that finally, and he's going to be thinking, oh no, I need to do something right now. I need to build units. And so we do see he is kept back at his base. He might as well even throw down a few more cannons, seeing as he does have 1,200 minerals. I'd like to just see a cannon spam and then go ahead and take your 3rd, because you kind of need to get the ball rolling if you see that your opponent has 3 bases and one of them's a gold.
Yeah, plus Fail is kind of Fail just has a scary army right now. Like, I feel if Fail attacked, he might just straight up win the game. He is going for a Nidus network though, so I feel like that is another very viable way for him to win the game, especially considering the fact that he has the Overseer coming up and it's scouting out the smoke, and the Nidus network is just wrapping off right now. So everything's loading until Nidus network. Is he gonna throw down that one?
However, we do have an observer here, so SwansGoMoo has to know that this is coming, because his observer's right there looking at it. And yeah, we do see his units going into the base at this time to try to pick that off.
Yeah, and wow, that was very ineffective. He got like 6 Zerglings and a Roach out, and dude, even with reasonable Blink Micro, not even letting that Stalker die, took some hull damage, but that was pretty good. And now, of course, we need to wait for Fail to unload his entire army from the Nidus network. And SwansGoMoo is going for very, very heavy upgrades. He's at 02 right now, and he's going for 03, plus the fact that he's getting Colossus range. This army is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think that Fail is kind of not taking advantage of his advantage at this time. He really needs to push and kind of keep SwansGoMoo contained. But if he lets him just sit there, he's going to have this huge upgrade advantage, and he's even going to have an army up. But we do see an attack at this time. The Zerglings coming in as well, some roaches, some nice force fields going down by Swans to keep the roaches at bay. And it looks like he might be able to hold this off.
Yeah, those 3 Immortals are just doing work on roaches right now. Now, of course, Immortals with just 2 attack upgrades are doing 60 damage per shot, which means that they're 3-shotting roaches just left and right.
Yeah.
And
a lot of stalkers as well on the field, picking off these roaches. But we do see that Fail's starting to reinforce with some more roaches at this time.
Yeah, but impressively, SwansGoMoo is actually going to hold this. That's pretty amazing. And nice blink micro, not losing any excess amount of stalkers. The second wave of roaches and Zerglings is coming in, but I don't think it's enough, especially with this Colossus just coming out, and this Colossus with just 02 upgrades, excuse me, is just going to be absolutely wiping out the force. We see its splash damage just wreaking havoc on the roaches.
Yeah, and it's in a very good position. The roaches cannot get to them and pick it off, so they are trying to target down the Nexus at this time, and they will be able to pick it off. But as we can see, Swan's third is just now finishing, and in fact, Fail's going to try to go pick it off if he can.
Yeah, but I think that actually, where's that Stalker army going? It's kind of just chilling around. Fail's just routing units. This isn't good. Oh, the Colossus. The Colossus. Whoa.
Oh no.
Wow.
Wow.
12
that was
life. That has to be like the luckiest Colossus ever. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh man. But Fail did manage to get the third picked off. So, you know, if we look... Wow, actually, if you look at the units lost tab, Fail is far behind.
That's 5,000,
which is interesting, considering...
Or 5,000-ish resources. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Upgrades. Upgrades are pretty good.
Yeah, upgrades are super good. I mean, SwansGoMoo is on 1 base right now, and he's managing to pick off this roach army and push forward.
That's even barely a base, because he's mining out those minerals rapidly.
Oh yeah, look at how many probes he has. Just they're going crazy.
And just the long-ranged mining and all that they can. I think he might have a couple of those patches fully saturated, even long range.
Yeah. And actually, we see that he is taking his third and fourth and his nat back, which he can afford to do, and he still has 1,300 minerals. So it was a good thing he was floating minerals when he did.
Yeah, the final Colossus does go down, so it looks like SwansGoMoo's push is going to be cleaned up right here, with the drones being pulled off the line to do a little bit of the surrounding action on those stalkers. Some of these might actually live if they get the blink off in time. However, not sure. Are they gonna blink? No. Yeah,
could blink.
So all the stalkers do get cleaned up. And he's still 6,000 resources ahead as far as units lost. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's good. Good for him.
And he's pulling off his probes at an effective time slot. They're not all just sitting around a mineral patch and then spreading out. The natural is wrapping off. The third just finished up. So, wow, giant pile of probes. Wow, this little block of probes is like 26. So, that's a lot of probes just stacked up. That's almost impressive.
Oh yeah, I see it.
So we do have we even have the fourth wrapped off, and he doesn't even have probes to saturate. It's just there.
Yeah, might as well be building probes out of it, getting a little bit of an extra advantage. Might want to put down 2 more geysers. Actually, he does have the geysers in his third, which is good. So he will be able to crank out more colossi and more stalkers, especially with this beautiful gate wall.
Yeah.
Do you see this?
That's
6 gateways and 2 cannons.
And sadly, the fourth not protected by the gate wall, and it does go down to the claws of the Zerglings right there. And the Zerglings are it's not solid. Not the most beautiful wall.
Oh man.
I mean, it's a pretty aesthetically pleasing wall, but not spectacular at being a wall. Sadly.
1 cannon, man. 1 cannon is all it would take to close that off.
Or just that gateway moved forward a hex, which kind of hurts.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he just lost quite a few probes there. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. All but 3, or all but 2. One just got finished being built.
Yeah, however.
And he is closing off the wall at this time with his pylon.
The massive transfer of probes just goes down, so that base is almost fully saturated again.
Yeah.
And yeah, SwansGoMoo is actually in kind of a commanding position at this point because his Zerg opponent is just finally starting his +1 upgrades, +1 melee, +1 ground carapets, and +1 missile attacks. However, he's still stuck on like tier 1.5 units, which is not what he needs at this point. He needs something more powerful, something like Broodlords, something like Ultralisks, you know, just something higher up.
Yeah.
Even Infestors would go really well right now.
Yeah, and the one thing that's really shocking me is if you look in the income tab, they are even on the probe count, essentially.
SwansGoMoo is actually a little bit ahead.
Yeah, right now, and Fail hasn't had any kind of harassment his way. He should have had 2, 3, 4 bases up with just tons of drones mining. And actually, we do see a GG go down for Fail.
That's a bit confusing. I'm not sure who he was GGing for. I mean, I think he was GGing for himself. I don't think that was like an offensive I got you GG, trying to get the opponent to leave, and hoping to gather you can fool him enough. And yeah, I don't know why Fail is still in this game, to be honest.
Yeah,
he's kind of just getting.
Me neither. Yep, 3-0 or 1-3 Colossi, very strong, and 1-3 Stalkers. Just doing tons of damage. In fact, I think it's awesome that he's still continuing to build a lot of sentries as well, so we can just force field that Roach army, and then it becomes even more inert.
You know, something that you always want versus like the tier 1.5 units of the other races, be it Marauders or Marines or Roaches. And Fail does finally leave the game, so that's the end of that replay. So thanks for coming out and helping me out with this, Cadoink.
Oh yeah, thank you very much for letting me come. I enjoyed it.
Check out other games that you've commentated, all that other stuff.
Yeah, they can check me out at youtube.com/user/Cadoink Studios, CADOINK STUDIOS, or you can just Google it or YouTube it, Cadoink Studios, and I should pop up. And you can see my replays, so check them out.
If you guys want to watch any other games I've commentated, you can head on over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. And if you want your games commentated, send them on in to boisteroussc2@gmail.com. And if you want me to, be like at the top of the list for me to co-cast them with Cadoink over here, just mention that in the email, and I'll make sure that we get you in there. And also, there will be a link to a Battle.net thread, so you guys should go and post in it and make sure that it gets bumped up to the front page so that more people see it, just by the way. So, anyway, this is Boisterous, signing out.
And this is Cadoink.